We're learning more about the risks of the brain injury CTE in athletes. The family of former NFL star Demaryius Thomas revealed yesterday that he had signs of CTE when he died in December. But it isn't just football that carries risks of brain injury. Here on CBS Mornings, we've been looking into how the condition could affect soccer players. Yesterday, retired U.S. soccer star Bruce Murray shared his neurological symptoms and his fight to protect other players. This morning, the family of another player, Scott Vermillion, is talking about his CTE diagnosis, which came after he died nearly 2 years ago at age 44. It was the first public diagnosis of the disease in a former Major League Soccer player. First, on CBS Mornings, Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jon LaPook talked with Vermillion's family, who said they learned about CTE warning signs after it was already too late.
Scott Vermillion played 5 seasons for Major League Soccer teams.
Vermillion trying to slot it for Lisi,
including his hometown Kansas City Wizards and DC United. He was also a devoted father to his 2 children, Ava Grace and Braden.
What was it like with your dad when you were younger, when you were growing up?
He was quick-witted. He was compassionate.
When we were younger, I would say he was more like outgoing and just like happier as a person.
At age 5, Vermillion started playing soccer. From the very start, he was a standout.
How many goals would he score?
I mean, by halftime, he'd have 6 or 7.
This is where Scott played.
It is.
Scott's father, Dave Vermillion, watched his son reach the heights of elite soccer. At age 26, an ankle injury ended his career. But Scott seemed to be moving forward with a new career in nursing.
Looking back, was there a moment when you noticed that his personality changed?
Yeah, there was something off about the way he was acting. And
did you ever link the changes in his personality and in his behavior to his soccer career?
No.
Dave Vermillion says his son started drinking too much and abusing the painkillers he was taking for his injury. Over the next decade, Scott tried rehab several times, but kept relapsing.
And what would he say?
He would say, "Dad, I have to take care of this myself." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, you're not taking care of it yourself."
Christmas at Mama and Papa's.
Yeah.
The change in Vermillion's behavior was obvious to his ex-wife, Cammie, and their 2 children.
The things that he promised that he would be there for were like life-changing big moments for us. He said he was going to go to Braden's graduation and didn't show up because he said he had work.
How did you find out that he had died?
I first found out it was on Christmas.
In December 2020, a friend found Scott Vermillion in his house. He was not breathing.
And my stepdad, Aaron, he called me up, and I kind of knew, like, right away, everyone was crying.
Vermillion had died from a combination of alcohol and muscle relaxers. The family began to suspect that the game he loved had damaged his brain. They turned to Dr. Ann McKee, director of Boston University's Center for Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy, or CTE.
And that wasn't normal for a 44-year-old man.
Dr. McKee found an abnormal protein suggestive of CTE in areas of Vermillion's brain that control memory and organization of thought.
It's CTE and only CTE. That was the only thing that was wrong with his brain.
Dr. McKee believes concussions are not the only cause of CTE.
Those balls are coming from a great distance at a tremendous velocity, and that impacts the head and causes rapid acceleration, deceleration, and rotation to the brain. The professionals have longer years of exposure, but kids who play high school sports, they're at risk for these changes.
Dave Vermillion says during Scott's many years of playing soccer, he had only 1 concussion. Substance abuse and unexplained personality changes are early signs of CTE.
They can't control their brain, and they start isolating themselves from people who care about them. We see hundreds of cases. Why aren't we doing more to prevent this?
Major League Soccer, which governs the professional teams Vermillion played for, declined our request for an on-camera interview. When we asked about their protocols for blows to the head that don't cause concussions, the league said it follows the most up-to-date science and cited its medical spotter program to identify potential head injuries and removing from play any player with a suspected head injury. For Scott Vermillion's family, the report from Boston University brings some answers, but also regrets.
I wish in those 4 years that this was going on, I could have spent more time with him and been a little bit, again, more compassionate.
There's definitely some closure there, though.
Yeah.
How so?
Just knowing the fact that his brain wasn't like processing the way a normal person would process it, and it's not like he intentionally was doing this. He wanted to get help. He wanted to be there for us. He was just sick and had just a disease.
Dr. Jon LaPook joins us right now. What is one of the biggest things you want us to take away from this?
You know, the gift that the Vermillion family is giving us and that Bruce Murray and his family gave us yesterday is awareness. They had no idea that the changes in personality and memory and behavior had anything to do with a sport. And I think if people are out there watching right now, if you are somebody involved in a sport or you know somebody, you notice a personality change, behavior change, get help, see a doctor, and think about going to a neurologist.
Is it about therapy? Is it about rehab of the mind? By get help, what do you mean?
Well, first of all, try to get a diagnosis. And we talked yesterday about the importance of having a way of diagnosing it before the person is dead. Right now, CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, has to be on biopsy. We need ways of diagnosing it beforehand and then maybe figure out ways of preventing it.
Thank you. We appreciate you.